Marcus Ghost Williams dropped to his knees in the dirt, his hands shaking as he stared at the chains wrapped around the little girl's wrists. Blood had dried in dark streaks down her arms. Her lips were cracked and bleeding. When she lifted her eyes to meet his, she whispered 4 words that shattered every wall he'd built around his heart in 15 years with the Hells Angels. "Are you an angel, mister?" Ghost's knife was already in his hand. This child, this terrified little black girl chained to a tree like an animal, looked exactly like his daughter would have looked if she'd lived to be 11 years old. Before we continue with this story, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss these powerful true stories. And comment below with the city you're watching from. I want to see how far this message of hope and redemption can travel. Now, let's get back to Marcus and the decision that would change everything. The knife screamed against metal. Ghost sawed through the first chain, his knuckles white around the handle. "What's your name, baby girl?" "Sarah." Her voice was sandpaper on glass. "Sarah Thompson." Ghost's hand slipped. The knife clattered against the chain. Thompson. Pastor Marcus Thompson. The same pastor who'd begged Ghost to save his little brother Darius 8 years ago. The same pastor who'd buried Darius 3 months later with 3 bullets in his chest. "How long?" Ghost attacked the chain again, faster now. 3 days, maybe 4. The sun came up 3 times. 3 times. Ghost's jaw cracked from clenching. 3 sunrises while this baby hung here like merchandise. 3 days while he'd been running club errands, drinking beer at the clubhouse, living his life. The chain snapped. Zara's legs folded. Ghost caught her before she hit dirt. "I got you." The words came out rough. "Nobody touches you again. Nobody." Zara weighed nothing, just bones and terror wrapped in torn clothes. Ghost carried her to his Harley, his mind racing through options. Cops? Pastor Thompson? The club? Every choice led somewhere bad. "Mr. Angel?" Zara's voice was so small. "Marcus, or Ghost, that's what people call me." "Why Ghost?" "'Cause I disappear when I need to." He wrapped his leather jacket around her shoulders. It swallowed her whole. "You trust me, Zara?" She should say no. He was a stranger, a biker, covered in tattoos and carrying a knife still wet from cutting her free. Why would she trust him? "You came." She leaned against his chest. "Nobody else came." Ghost's heart stopped. Started again. Stopped. He fired up the bike, keeping it quiet, and pulled Zara in front of him, one arm around her waist. She fit right there against him, and something roared to life in Ghost's chest, something that died 8 years ago when his daughter Amara took bullets meant for him. 20 minutes to the clubhouse. Ghost used every second to plan his words. Bull wouldn't like this. The club had rules. No civilians, especially no kids. But what choice did Ghost have? Leave her at a hospital where the cops would ask questions? Take her to Pastor Thompson's church, where whoever chained her up would know exactly where to find her? The clubhouse sat on Detroit's industrial edge, squat brick building that used to be a machine shop. Ghost pulled around back, hoping to slip through the side door unnoticed. "Ghost!" Diesel Martinez stepped out of the garage bay, wiping grease off his hands with a red rag.
"Where you been, brother? Bull's been—"
He stopped, stared at Zara. "Who's the kid?"
"Found her chained up, Jefferson Avenue. She needs help."
Diesel's eyes went wide. He looked at Zara, at Ghost, back at Zara.
"Man, you can't bring random kids here. You know the rules."
"She's Pastor Thompson's daughter." The rag fell from Diesel's hand. "The pastor? The one who—" "Yeah." "Ghost." Diesel stepped closer, lowering his voice.
This is bad. This is really bad. Everything's bad these days.
Where's Bull? Inside, executive board meeting. They're talking with the Iron Skulls. Ghost's stomach hit the ground. The Iron Skulls are here? In our clubhouse? Yeah, some kind of truce negotiation. Peace treaty or something. Diesel glanced at Zara again. Look, man, whatever you're planning, the Iron Skulls. What kind of business they running now? Diesel shifted his weight, looked away. The usual. Why? Diesel. I don't know all the details, Ghost. Tell me what you know. Diesel pulled Ghost aside, away from Zara. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. Word is they're expanding. New territory. New markets. What markets? People. Diesel couldn't meet his eyes. They're moving people, Ghost. The rage hit Ghost so hard he swayed. Human trafficking. The Iron Skulls ran a trafficking ring, and Zara had been chained up like inventory waiting for shipment. Bull's in there right now. Diesel jerked his thumb toward the clubhouse. Making a deal with them. Some kind of non-aggression pact. He says it'll bring peace to the whole East Side. Ghost looked at Zara. She stood wrapped in his jacket, watching him with eyes too old for her face. She didn't understand the words, but she knew. Kids always knew. I need to get her somewhere safe, just for tonight. Ghost, when Bull finds out, please, brother. Diesel stared at him for 5 long seconds, then sighed. Storage room, back of the building. Got a cot and a lock. But Ghost, when Bull, I'll handle Bull. They moved fast through side corridors. Voices echoed from the main room. Bull's deep rumble, laughter, bottles clinking. The storage room was small but clean. Someone's crash pad, cot with blankets, mini fridge, small TV on a wooden crate. I'll bring food, Diesel said. Thanks, brother. After Diesel left, Ghost knelt in front of Zara. You stay here tonight. I need to talk to some people. But you're safe, I promise. Her fingers grabbed his jacket. Don't leave me. I'm not leaving. Just down the hall. See that bathroom? Locks from inside. This door too. Nobody gets in unless you let them. What if they come back? They don't know you're here. Ghost pulled out his phone. You know your daddy's number? She rattled off digits. Ghost's thumb hovered over the call button. But something stopped him. If he called Pastor Thompson now, the man would come running. Cops would follow. Questions would be asked. And once cops started digging into why Zara was at the Hells Angels clubhouse, they'd uncovered the club's business with the Iron Skulls. That truce Diesel mentioned? If it involved looking the other way on trafficking, Ghost needed to know before he blew everything up. I'll call him soon, but first I need to make sure everything's safe, okay? Zara nodded. Tears filled her eyes. My mama always said find a police officer if you're in trouble. But the bad men, some of them had badges. Ghost went cold. Did you see their faces? Some wore masks, but one didn't. He had a scar. She traced a line down her left cheek. Right here. And he kept calling someone, saying the package would be ready tomorrow. Package. They'd called this baby a package. Anything else about that man? He had a ring, a skull, silver and shiny. Zara touched her right ring finger. He kept twisting it when he talked on the phone. Ghost knew that ring. Every Iron Skull wore one. But the badge detail, that was new. Dangerous. Diesel knocked and came in with chips, water bottles, a wrapped sandwich. Best I could do. Zara took the food. Her hands shook so bad water sloshed out when she opened the bottle. Slow sips, Ghost said. Your stomach's gonna be sensitive. He and Diesel stepped into the hallway. Ghost pulled the door almost shut.
Iron Skulls have cops on payroll. Diesel's face went white.
How do you know? The kids saw badges. One of them wore a skull ring.
Ghost. Diesel ran his hand over his face. If that's true, and Bull finds out you're harboring her, what's he gonna do? Hand her back over? He might, if it means keeping peace. Then Bull's not who I thought he was. Neither are you. Diesel crossed his arms. Since when do you care about random kids? She's not random. She's... Ghost stopped. The words stuck in his throat. She's somebody's daughter, just like Amara was mine. Oh, man. Understanding hit Diesel's face. Ghost, you can't. Where's the meeting? Conference room, but they're gonna... Ghost was already moving. He didn't knock, just opened the conference room door and walked in like he owned the place. 8 men around the table. The executive board, plus 2 strangers in leather vests, skull patches. Iron Skulls, in the Hells Angels clubhouse. Ghost's hand moved toward his knife. Ghost. Bull's voice could cut steel.
Private meeting.
We need to talk. It can wait. No. One of the Iron Skulls, thick neck, scar down his left cheek, leaned back in his chair. Got a discipline problem, Bull? Ghost stared at that scar. The same scar Zara described. You, Ghost pointed. Where were you 3 days ago? Scarface grinned. None of your business, boy. It is when you're trafficking children. The room exploded. Bull shot to his feet. The Iron Skulls stood. Hands moved toward weapons.
But Ghost didn't move. What the hell are you talking about? Bull's face went red. I found an 11-year-old girl chained to a tree tonight. Left there 3 days, like garbage. Ghost pointed at Scarface. She described this piece of trash right down to that skull ring. You're out of line, Bull shouted. Am I? Ghost turned to face his president. What kind of truce are we making, Bull? What are we agreeing to ignore? The second Iron Skull, wiry, dead eyes, laughed. Oh, this is beautiful. You didn't tell your boys about the full arrangement, did you? Bull's jaw worked. Ghost, sit down. Shut up. Not until you tell me we're not in bed with traffickers. Business is business. Bull's voice went flat. What the Iron Skulls do in their territory isn't our concern. Their territory? You mean selling kids? I mean staying alive. Bull slammed his fist on the table. I mean keeping this club from getting wiped out in a war we can't win. The Iron Skulls have numbers, weapons, connections. We need this truce. Not like this. You don't make that call. I'm president. I decide what's best for this club. Scarface was still grinning. Sounds like mutiny, Bull. Want us to handle your problem? Nobody handles anything. Bull's eyes stayed on Ghost. Where's the girl? Ghost said nothing. Is she in this clubhouse? The silence answered. Bull closed his eyes. Jesus Christ. Do you have any idea what you've done? Yeah. Saved a child's life. You brought police attention on all of us. That girl's father is a pastor. He's probably called the cops already. When they find out she was here, then maybe we should have something better to tell them than we were too scared to help. The wiry Iron Skull pulled out his phone. I'm calling Reaper. Put it away, Bull ordered. Your boy just accused us of felonies. Reaper needs to know. Ghost's mind raced. Reaper Donovan, Iron Skull's leader. Former Detroit cop turned gang boss. If he found out Zara was here, nobody calls anybody. Ghost pulled his knife. Not until that girl is safe. You're pulling a weapon on our guests? Bull's voice went deadly quiet. I'm protecting an innocent kid. What are you doing? Bull stared at him. For 1 second, Ghost thought he saw doubt in the older man's eyes.
maybe shame. But Bull shook his head. Viper, Ace, take Ghost outside, help him cool down. Two Hell's Angels stood,
Men Ghost had ridden with for years, fought beside, bled with. Bull, don't do this. You did this when you brought that girl here. Now we clean up your mess.
Viper and Ace approached, hands raised. Come on, Ghost, Viper said. Let's just take a walk. Ghost looked around the table. His brothers, every single one of them. Not one would meet his eyes, except Diesel in the doorway, his face torn with conflict. The girl. Scarface stood. Where is she exactly? Not your concern.
See, that's where you're wrong. Scarface's grin widened. That's premium merchandise. Already got a buyer. International transaction. Big money. Ghost lunged, knife aimed at Scarface's throat, but Viper and Ace grabbed him, hauled him back.
Easy, Ace grunted. Don't make this worse.
Worse? Ghost fought their grip. How does it get worse than this?
Bull stepped between Ghost and the Iron Skulls.
Meeting's over. Our guests leave. We handle internal discipline ourselves.
The girl, the wiry skull said.
Gets returned to her father, Bull said firmly. Unharmed.
Not good enough.
Scarface leaned forward.
She saw faces. Can identify.
She's 11 years old, Bull interrupted. Her father's a prominent community leader. She disappears, this whole city burns. You want that heat? The Iron Skulls exchanged looks.
24 hours, the wiry one said.
You got 24 hours to make this right. Otherwise, Reaper handles it his way. They left, boots echoing down the hall. Bull rounded on Ghost. Where is she? Ghost stayed silent. Ghost, so help me.
Storage room,
Diesel said quietly.
Back storage room.
Ghost's head whipped around.
Diesel, I'm sorry, brother.
Diesel couldn't look at him.
But Bull's right. We can't protect her. Not from them.
Bull moved toward the door. Ghost broke free and blocked his path.
You're really gonna hand that child back to them? After what they said? I'm calling her father to pick her up, like I should have done the second you brought her here.
And when the Skulls come for her at her father's church?
Not our problem.
Everything is our problem, Ghost's voice cracked. That's what brotherhood means. We protect people who can't protect themselves. We protect each other, Bull corrected.
That's it.
That's all we can afford.
Then what's the point of any of this if we're no better than them?
Bull pushed past him.
Viper, Ace, keep Ghost here while I deal with this.
Ghost watched his president walk away.
Something inside him shifted, locked into place.
A choice that would cost him everything.
I'm not letting you do this, Bull.
Bull stopped, turned. What?
I'm not letting you give that girl back. You want to call her father? Fine. She stays under my protection until he gets here.
And if the Iron Skulls come for her, they go through me first. You're choosing this kid over your club? Ghost thought about Amara, about holding her small body after the shooting, about the promise he made to himself that day. Never again. Never let another child suffer if he could stop it.
Yeah, I am.
Bull's face went cold. Then you're not a Hell's Angel anymore. Turn in your patch. 15 years. 15 years of loyalty, brotherhood, blood, and sacrifice. Gone. But when Ghost thought about Zara asking if he was an angel, the choice crystallized. Clear as glass. Hard as diamond. He pulled off his vest, leather heavy with memories. He laid it on the conference table. I'm sorry, Ghost said. So am I. Bull turned away. You got 1 hour. Get that kid and yourself out.
After that, you're trespassing. Ghost headed for the storage room. Diesel followed. Ghost, wait! Don't. It's not that simple. Yeah, Diesel. Ghost didn't look back.
It really is. He opened the storage room door. Zara sat on the cot, clutching a water bottle, eyes huge. We're leaving, right now. Are the bad men here? No, baby girl, but we can't stay. Ghost pulled out his phone and dialed Pastor Thompson. 3 rings, then a desperate voice. Hello? Who is this? Pastor Thompson, Marcus Williams. You probably don't... Ghost? Darius's brother? Yes, sir. I have your daughter. The sound Pastor Thompson made was half sob, half prayer. Zara? You have Zara? Found her chained in an abandoned lot. She's dehydrated and scared, but physically okay. I'm bringing her to you. But Pastor, listen carefully. The men who took her won't stop. They have resources, connections, cops on their payroll. I don't care. Just bring me my daughter. Please. We need to meet somewhere safe, somewhere public. The church. Come to the church. I'll have the whole congregation here. Every door guarded. Ghost looked at Zara. Your daddy wants you home. Tears streamed down her face. I thought I'd never see him again. You thought wrong. Ghost lifted her into his arms. Let's go home, baby girl. They walked through the clubhouse. Ghost saw Diesel standing in shadows, face twisted with something that looked like guilt, or maybe regret, or maybe fear. And Ghost knew leaving the Hells Angels was the easy part. Keeping Zara alive long enough to get her home? That was about to get real complicated. He carried her out to his bike. The night air was cool, clear, stars visible despite the city lights. You ever been on a motorcycle? Ghost asked. Zara shook her head. It's easy. You sit in front of me. Hold on to the tank. I won't let you fall. He positioned her carefully, then climbed on behind her, started the engine. It rumbled to life, and Zara tensed. It's okay. Just lean back against me. She did, small and trusting against his chest. Ghost pulled out of the parking lot. In his rearview mirror, he saw Diesel watching from the doorway, saw other club members gathering, pointing, talking. He didn't look back again. They rode through Detroit's empty streets, past abandoned factories and closed shops, past neighborhoods where Ghost had grown up, where he'd lost his brother, where he'd buried his daughter. Ghost? Zara's voice was small against the wind. Yeah, baby girl. Why did you help me? The question hit him hard. Why had he? He could have kept riding that night, could have minded his own business, could have made the smart choice and stayed out of it. Because nobody helped my little girl when she needed it, Ghost said. And I promised myself if I ever got another chance, I'd do better. What happened to your little girl? She died 8 years ago. She was your age. I'm sorry. Me too, baby girl. Me too. They rode in silence for a while. Then Zara asked, What was her name? Amara. It means grace. That's pretty. She was pretty. Smart, too. Funny. She used to make up songs about everything. Brushing teeth, tying shoes, eating breakfast. Everything was a song. I like songs, too. Ghost smiled despite everything. Yeah? What kind? Church songs, mostly. My daddy's a pastor, so we sing a lot. I remember. I used to go to your daddy's church. Long time ago. Really? Yeah. Before things got bad. Before I joined the club. Ghost paused. Your daddy tried to save my little brother. Tried real hard. What happened? My brother didn't want to be saved. He wanted to be tough, wanted to be respected.
So he joined a gang, and 3 months later he was dead. Is that why you joined the Angels? Part of it. Mostly I joined because I was angry. At the world, at God, at everyone. Ghost took a breath. And then I had Amara. And everything changed. She made me want to be better. Made me think maybe I could be better. But she died. Yeah. Wrong place, wrong time. Bullets meant for me hit her instead. Ghost's voice went rough. After that, I stopped trying to be better. Figured there was no point. And now? Now? Ghost looked down at this brave little girl who'd survived 3 days chained to a tree. Now I think maybe I got one more chance to get it right. They pulled up to Pastor Thompson's church. It was a small building, white paint peeling, cross on the roof lit up against the dark sky. But lights blazed in every window, and people stood outside. Dozens of them. The whole congregation, just like Pastor Thompson promised. Ghost killed the engine, helped Zara off the bike. The church doors flew open. A man ran out, tall, thin, graying hair, tears streaming down his face. Zara! Pastor Thompson dropped to his knees in front of his daughter. Oh, thank God. Thank God. Zara ran to him, threw her arms around his neck. They held each other, both crying, both shaking. Ghost stood back, watching. This was what he'd fought for. This moment, right here. Pastor Thompson looked up at him. Marcus, I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me yet. The men who took her, I know. You said they have resources. Pastor Thompson stood, keeping one arm around Zara. Come inside. Let's talk. They went into the church. Congregation members surrounded them immediately. Women fussing over Zara, men shaking Ghost's hand. Everyone talking at once. Pastor Thompson led Ghost to his office, closed the door. The noise faded. Tell me everything, the pastor said. Ghost did. The abandoned lot, the chains, the iron skulls, the trafficking ring, the cops on their payroll, the truce his club was making. All of it. Pastor Thompson's face went from grateful to horrified to determined. You gave up your club for my daughter, he said quietly. Wasn't much of a choice once I saw her. It's always a choice, Marcus. And you chose right. Pastor Thompson moved to his desk, pulled out a card. This is Detective Sarah Chen. She's with a federal task force investigating human trafficking. She's clean, not on anyone's payroll. You need to talk to her. Federal? The trafficking problem is bigger than just Detroit, bigger than the Iron Skulls. Pastor Thompson handed Ghost the card. They've been building a case for 2 years, but they need witnesses, people brave enough to testify. Ghost looked at the card. Detective Sarah Chen, FBI, Human Trafficking Task Force. Zara can't testify, Ghost said. She's been through enough. I'm not asking her to, but you can. You saw where they kept her. You know who's involved. You can help them shut this down. They have cops on payroll, Pastor. How do I know this detective is clean? Because I've known Sarah for 5 years. She goes to church 3 blocks from here, volunteers at the youth center. She's one of the good ones, Marcus. I'd stake my life on it. Ghost pocketed the card. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. You said the Iron Skulls gave your club 24 hours. That clock's ticking. A knock on the door. One of the congregation members, elderly woman, gray hair, kind eyes. Pastor, Zara's asking for Ghost. They found her in the church's small kitchen. Women had cleaned her up, given her fresh clothes, fed her soup. She looked better. Still scared, still traumatized, but better. Ghost? She stood when she saw him. Are you leaving? I need to, baby girl, but you're safe now. Your daddy's here. All these people, they're gonna protect you. But what about you? I'll be fine. The bad men are still out there. I know, but I'm gonna make sure they can't hurt anyone else. Zara hugged him, small arms around his waist. Thank you for being my angel. Ghost's eyes burned. He knelt down so they were eye level. You listen to me, Zara.
You're the bravest person I ever met. You survived 3 days when most people wouldn't have lasted 3 hours, and you're gonna keep surviving. You're gonna grow up strong and smart. You're gonna do amazing things. You hear me? She nodded. Good. Now I need you to promise me something. If you see any of those bad men again, any of them, you tell your daddy immediately, and you run. Don't try to be brave, just run. I promise. Ghost stood. Pastor Thompson walked him to the door. Where will you go? The pastor asked. Don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. Ghost paused. Pastor, that day you tried to save Darius, I blamed you when he died. Thought you didn't try hard enough. I know. You did everything you could. I see that now. Sometimes people just can't be saved. Everyone can be saved, Marcus. They just have to want it. Pastor Thompson put his hand on Ghost's shoulder. And I think you want it now. Ghost didn't know what to say to that, so he just nodded and walked out. His motorcycle sat alone in the parking lot. The congregation had gone back inside. The night was quiet except for distant traffic. Ghost pulled out the card Detective Chen had given him, stared at it for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone and dialed. It rang twice. Detective Chen? My name is Marcus Williams. Pastor Thompson gave me your number. I have information about a human trafficking operation in Detroit. There was a pause. Can you come to my office? I can come now. Where are you? Ghost gave her the church address. Stay there. I'm 10 minutes away. Ghost hung up, sat on his bike, looked up at the stars. I hope I'm doing the right thing, Amara, he said quietly. I hope you'd be proud of your old man. The stars didn't answer, but Ghost felt something shift inside him anyway. Something that had been broken for 8 years, starting to knit back together. He didn't know what came next. Didn't know if talking to the feds would help or just make everything worse. But he knew one thing for absolute certain. He'd found his purpose again. And he'd burn the whole damn city down before he let anyone hurt another child like they'd hurt Zara. 10 minutes later, an unmarked sedan pulled into the parking lot. Ghost's new life was about to begin. Detective Sarah Chen stepped out of the unmarked sedan carrying a leather bag and a coffee that smelled like it had been sitting too long. She was shorter than Ghost expected, maybe 5'4", with black hair pulled into a tight bun and eyes that didn't miss anything. She scanned the parking lot twice before walking toward him. Marcus Williams? Ghost. I prefer real names. She held out her hand. Ghost shook it. Her grip was firm. Pastor Thompson speaks highly of you. Says you saved his daughter. I found her. She saved herself by lasting 3 days. Chen pulled out a notebook. Tell me everything. Start with how you found her. Ghost did. The abandoned lot, the chains, Zara's description of Scarface and the skull ring, the cops with badges, the phone call about the package. Every detail burned into his memory. Chen wrote fast, her pen scratching across paper. The man with the scar. You saw him tonight? At my clubhouse. He's Iron Skulls. They were there making a truce with the Hells Angels. Chen's pen stopped. The Hells Angels were negotiating with known traffickers? My former club, Ghost corrected. I'm not with them anymore. Because you chose to protect Zara. Because they chose not to.
Chen closed her notebook. Marcus, what I'm about to tell you doesn't leave this conversation. The Iron Skulls aren't just a local gang. They're a node in an international trafficking network. We're talking operations in 12 states and 4 countries. The man you described, we've been hunting him for 18 months. Ghost's hands tightened on his bike's handlebars. You know who he is? Vincent Carver, former Detroit PD. Got kicked off the force for excessive force complaints. Now he's Reaper Donovan's right hand. Chen pulled out her phone, showed Ghost a photo. Same scar, same dead eyes. He's personally responsible for moving at least 40 children in the last year.
That we know of. 40? Minimum. And Reaper Donovan? Chen swiped to another photo. Broad shoulders, cold smile, police uniform. Former FBI. He ran organized crime investigations for 6 years before we caught him taking payoffs. He knew every tactic we'd use, every informant we had. When he went to the Iron Skulls, he took that knowledge with him. Ghost felt sick. Former FBI, running a trafficking ring. Using everything we taught him to stay ahead of us. Until tonight. Until you found Zara. Chen leaned against his motorcycle. She can identify Carver, place him at the scene, connect him to the trafficking operation. That's huge for our case. She's been through enough. I'm not putting her on a witness stand. I'm not asking you to, not yet. But Marcus, with your testimony and her identification, we can get warrants, raid their operations, shut them down before they move more kids. Chen pulled out a business card, wrote something on the back. This is my direct line. You see anything, hear anything, you call me immediately. Ghost pocketed the card. The Iron Skulls gave my former club 24 hours. That was 2 hours ago. When that deadline hits, they're coming for Zara. Let them come. We'll be ready. With what? A couple federal agents against a gang with cops on payroll? With the full task force. 20 agents. Local PD we've already vetted. SWAT if needed. Chen's voice hardened. We've been waiting for a break in this case for 2 years. You just handed us one. We're not letting it slip away. Ghost's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He ignored it. That could be important, Chen said. If it's important, they'll leave a message. The phone buzzed again. Same number. Ghost answered. Yeah? Ghost. Bull's voice. We need to talk. Nothing to talk about. I'm not with the club anymore. That's exactly what we need to talk about. Where are you? Ghost looked at Chen, who nodded. Pastor Thompson's church. Why? Stay there. I'm coming alone. 5 minutes. Bull hung up. Chen already had her phone out. I'm calling for backup. No. If Bull sees cops, he'll bolt. He's coming to threaten you. Maybe. Or maybe he's coming to help. Ghost swung his leg over his bike. Either way, I need to hear what he has to say. I'm not leaving you alone with him. Then stay in your car. But no badges showing, no guns drawn. Bull's been my brother for 15 years. Give me 5 minutes to see if there's anything left of that. Chen didn't look happy, but she walked back to her sedan, got in, didn't drive away. 3 minutes later, Bull's bike rumbled into the lot. He parked 10 feet from Ghost, killed the engine, but didn't get off. You look like hell, Bull said. Feel worse. I bet. Bull finally dismounted, but kept his distance. The Iron Skulls are pissed. Really pissed. Reaper wants the girl, wants you, and wants to make an example of anyone who gets in his way. So you came here to warn me, or to deliver me? To warn you, you stupid son of a... Bull stopped himself, took a breath. I should have backed you tonight. Should have told those traffickers to get out of our house. Should have stood with you when you stood for that kid. Ghost said nothing. Waited. But I didn't. I chose the club's survival over doing what's right, and I'm gonna have to live with that. Bull pulled something from his jacket. A phone. He tossed it to Ghost. Burner, untraceable. Only 3 people have the number. Me, Diesel, and Sketch. Sketch? Young kid, joined last year. Tattoo artist. He's good people, Ghost. And he's been asking questions since you left. Questions about what we stand for. What we're becoming. Bull met Ghost's eyes. You started something tonight. Not everyone in the club agrees with what I did. Some of them think you're right. Think we sold our souls for a truce that's not worth having. How many? 6, maybe 7 who'd actually do something about it. Another dozen who are sympathetic but scared. Bull kicked at the gravel. Reaper knows about the split. He's planning to hit us too. Take out anyone who might side with you. Consolidate his power on the east side. When? Don't know exactly, but it's coming fast. Bull started walking back to his bike, then stopped. The storage room where the kid was? I put some supplies there. Cash, fake IDs, ammunition, combinations your daughter's birthday. Ghost's throat tightened. You remember Amara's birthday? I remember everything about her, Ghost. She called me Uncle Bull. Used to make me tea parties with her stuffed animals. Bull's voice cracked. When she died, I lost a niece. You lost everything. And tonight when I saw that other little girl, I should have remembered that. Should have been the man Amara thought I was. You still can be. Bull climbed on his bike. Maybe, but right now you need to worry about staying alive. Reaper's got a 48-hour contract out. 50,000 for you, 25 for the girl. The world tilted. He put a bounty on an 11-year-old? He put a bounty on a witness. Age doesn't matter to him. Bull started his engine. Watch your back, brother, and keep that phone close. Bull rode away, leaving Ghost standing alone with the weight of Bull's words crushing down on him. Chen got out of her sedan. What did he say? There's a contract. 50,000 for me, 25 for Zara. Chen's face went pale. We're moving both of you into protective custody, right now. No. Marcus, this isn't negotiable. I'm not hiding, and I'm not putting Zara through being moved again. Ghost pulled out the burner Bull gave him. But I need you to station agents here, around the clock. Pastor Thompson's church needs to be the safest place in Detroit. We can't protect you better than a safe house. A safe house is temporary. What happens after? We can't hide forever. But if we take down Reaper and his operation now, we end this. Ghost looked toward the church. Lights still blazing. Congregation still inside with Zara. How fast can you get those warrants? With what you've given me? 48 hours minimum. We don't have 48 hours. Then we need more evidence. Something concrete that ties Reaper directly to trafficking. Ghost's other phone rang. The burner. He answered. Ghost? Diesel's voice, shaking. Man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about tonight. Where are you? Driving. Away from the clubhouse. Away from everything. Diesel took a ragged breath. I've been keeping records, Ghost. For 2 years. Every dirty deal, every payoff, every time Bull looked the other way. Ghost went still. Why? Because my mom needed cancer treatment, and the club's insurance wouldn't cover it. So I took money from the Iron Skulls to deliver packages. Didn't ask what was in them. Didn't want to know. Diesel's voice broke. But I knew, Ghost. Deep down, I knew. And I hated myself for it. So I kept records, thought maybe someday I'd be brave enough to do something with them. Where are these records? Digital files, encrypted. Photos, recordings, transaction logs, everything. Diesel laughed, but there was no humor in it. I even recorded tonight's meeting. Got Bull and those iron skulls on tape discussing the truce, discussing the trafficking operations. All of it. Chen was already making frantic hand gestures. Ghost put the phone on speaker. Diesel, this is FBI Special Agent Sarah Chen. Where are you right now? Silence. Diesel? Ghost said. She's clean. I'm working with her. We can protect you. Protect me? Ghost, they're gonna kill me. Bull knows I've been asking questions. Knows I went to your storage room after you left. It's only a matter of time before he puts it together. Then come here, Pastor Thompson's church. We have FBI protection. You bring those files, we take down the whole operation. More silence. Then, I'm 20 minutes out. But Ghost? I'm being followed. Silver SUV. Been on me since I left the clubhouse. Chen was already on her radio calling for backup, vectoring units to intercept. Keep driving, Ghost said. Stay on main roads, lots of traffic. We're sending help. If they catch me, they won't. If they do, the files are backed up. Cloud storage, password is... Diesel's voice cut off. Tires squealing, Diesel shouting. The sound of impact, metal crunching, glass shattering. Then, nothing. Diesel! Ghost shouted. Diesel! The line went dead. Sen was already moving, phone pressed to her ear, barking orders about Diesel's last location, accident scenes, ambulances. Ghost stood frozen, the burner phone still in his hand. Diesel. His best friend. The brother who'd stood beside him through 15 years of runs and fights and late-night talks about dreams they'd never have. Marked units responding, Chen said, coming back. Ambulance en route. We'll find him, Marcus. They ran him off the road. We don't know that yet. Yeah, we do. Ghost climbed on his bike. I'm going to him. Marcus, you can't. He's my brother. I'm going. Chen grabbed his arm. And if it's a trap? If they're waiting for you? Then I die trying to save someone instead of hiding in a church. Ghost shook her off. You want Reaper? You want evidence? Diesel has it. And I'm not leaving him out there alone. Then I'm coming with you. No. You stay here. Protect Zara. That's the priority. Chen stared at him for 3 long seconds, then pulled her service weapon, checked the magazine, and handed it to Ghost. Take this. I'll tell my supervisor I lost it in the field. Ghost took the gun, felt the weight. He hadn't carried in 2 years. Not since Amara. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just bring Diesel back alive. And Marcus? Chen's voice softened. Be smart. You're no good to Zara dead. Ghost kicked his bike to life and tore out of the parking lot. Behind him, Chen was already on the radio, coordinating the response. But Ghost wasn't waiting for backup. Diesel had risked everything to collect evidence, had kept records when it could have gotten him killed, was being hunted right now because he'd chosen to finally do the right thing. Ghost rode faster than he should, weaving through traffic, running red lights, following the route Diesel would have taken from the clubhouse. His phone, his regular phone, not the burner, rang. Unknown number again. He answered. What? Ghost. Reaper Donovan's voice. Smooth. Cold. You've been busy tonight. Ghost's hand tightened on the handlebar. If you hurt Diesel, your friend's alive, for now. Banged up pretty bad, but breathing. Whether he stays that way depends on you. What do you want? The girl. And the evidence your friend collected. You bring me both, he lives. You don't, well, Diesel's got a lot of blood in him. Be ashamed to waste it all. I'm not giving you Zara. Then your friend dies screaming. And after him, the pastor, his wife, every congregation member in that church, everyone you've touched tonight dies bloody.
Reaper paused. But it doesn't have to be that way. Give me what I want, and everyone walks away. You, the girl, your friend. Everyone. You're lying. Maybe. But are you willing to bet Diesel's life on it? The pastor's? That little girl's? Reaper laughed. You've got 1 hour, Ghost.
Old Miller Warehouse on 8 Mile. Come alone. Bring the girl and whatever files Diesel was stupid enough to collect. Do that, and this ends clean.
And if I don't? Then I start mailing pieces of your friends to that church, starting with Diesel's fingers, 1 every 10 minutes. The line went dead. Ghost pulled over, hands shaking on the handlebars. 1 hour. Reaper had Diesel, was threatening Pastor Thompson's entire congregation, wanted Zara and the evidence files.
Everything Ghost had worked for tonight, saving Zara, getting her to safety, starting to take down the trafficking ring, all of it was crashing down. His phone rang again. Chen. Marcus, we found Diesel's car. He's not there. Signs of blood, signs of struggle. They took him. I know. Reaper just called. Wants Zara and Diesel's files in exchange for Diesel's life. It's a trap. You know it's a trap.
Yeah.
So you're not seriously considering? I'm considering that Diesel's being tortured right now because he tried to help me. I'm considering that Reaper just threatened to massacre an entire church. I'm considering that I've got 1 hour to figure out how to save everyone. Chen was quiet for a moment. Then, where's the meet? Old Miller Warehouse, 8 Mile. I know it. We can set up a perimeter, position snipers. No. He said come alone. He'll have spotters watching. Any sign of cops, Diesel dies. Then what's your plan? Ghost watched traffic flow past him. Normal people going to normal places, living normal lives where little girls didn't get chained to trees and good men didn't get tortured for doing the right thing. I don't have a plan yet, but I've got an hour to come up with one. Don't do this alone, Marcus. Please. Ghost hung up and dialed the burner. Bull answered on the first ring. You heard, Bull said, not a question. Yeah. Reaper's got Diesel. I know. Sketch just called. He saw them take him. Sketch is sick about it. Wants to help. Can I trust Sketch? With your life. Kid's got a conscience. Rare thing in our world. Bull paused. What do you need? 6 men who'll ride with me into a trap. Men who won't run when it gets bloody. You got 7. I'm coming too. Ghost's throat tightened. Bull, I should have stood with you tonight. I'm standing with you now. Where and when? Old Miller Warehouse, 45 minutes. We'll be there. And Ghost, we're bringing everything we got. Reaper wants a war. He's gonna get one. Bull hung up. Ghost sat on his bike, Chen's borrowed gun heavy in his jacket, the weight of impossible choices pressing down on him. He couldn't give Reaper what he wanted. But he couldn't let Diesel die either. Couldn't let Reaper follow through on his threats against the church. His regular phone rang one more time. A text this time from a number he didn't recognize. The message was a photo. Diesel, tied to a chair, blood running down his face. Alive, but hurt. Below the photo, 42 minutes. Don't be late. Ghost saved the image, forwarded it to Chen, then kicked his bike back to life. He didn't have a plan. Didn't have backup he could count on. Didn't have anything except a borrowed gun, a group of bikers with more courage than sense, and 42 minutes to figure out how to save his best friend without sacrificing an innocent child. But as Ghost rode toward 8 Mile, toward the warehouse where Reaper waited, toward a confrontation that would probably get him killed, he thought about Amara.
about the promise he'd made 8 years ago to never let another child suffer if he could stop it.
And he thought about Zara asking if he was an angel. Maybe he wasn't an angel, but tonight, he was going to raise hell like one. The warehouse loomed ahead in the darkness, and Ghost didn't slow down. 7 motorcycles pulled into the warehouse district 5 minutes before Ghost. He heard them coming, that distinctive Harley rumble echoing off empty buildings. Bull leading, Sketch right behind him, 5 others Ghost recognized from years of riding together. They parked in formation, engines idling, waiting. Ghost pulled up beside Bull. "You came. Said I would." Bull looked older in the sodium lights. Tired. "Sketch brought something you need to see." Sketch was maybe 22, lean and wiry, with ink covering both arms. He pulled out his phone, hands shaking. "I've been recording everything, since I joined. Every meeting, every deal, every conversation." "Why?" Ghost asked. "Because my sister," Sketch's voice cracked. "She disappeared 3 years ago. 14 years old. Gone. Police said she ran away, but I knew better. And when I started hearing rumors about the Iron Skulls, about what they do..." He stopped, swallowed hard. "I joined the Angels to get close, to find out what happened to her." Ghost went cold. "Did you?" "Yeah. She's dead. Sold overseas 2 months after they took her. Died in transport." Sketch's hands tightened on his phone. "So I've been collecting evidence ever since. For 3 years, waiting for the right moment to burn them all down." "Why didn't you go to the cops?" "Because half the cops work for Reaper. I tried once. Detective I talked to told Reaper everything. I barely got out alive." Sketch held up his phone. "But tonight, when you stood up to Bull, when you chose that little girl over the club, I knew. It was time." Bull spoke up. "Showing the recording from tonight." Sketch pulled up a video. The conference room, tonight's meeting. Ghost heard his own voice confronting Reaper's men, heard Bull trying to keep the peace, heard everything. But he also heard something he'd missed in the moment. The wiry Iron Skull, the one with dead eyes, had said something to Scarface right before they left. Something Ghost hadn't caught because Viper and Ace were holding him back. "Play that part again," Ghost said. Sketch rewound, enhanced the audio. The wiry Skull's voice came through tinny, but clear. "The pastor's kid was just a test run. Wait till you see what we got lined up for tomorrow night. 24 kids. International buyers. Biggest score we ever had." Ghost's blood turned to ice. "Tomorrow night. They're moving 24 children tomorrow night." "That's why we need Diesel's files," Bull said. "He's got locations, schedules, everything we need to stop them." "First, we need to get Diesel out alive." "About that." Sketch pulled up another video. Security footage from outside the warehouse, time-stamped 14 minutes ago. "I've got a drone. Been watching the place since Reaper's men brought Diesel in. There's 20 guys inside, maybe more. They're expecting you to come alone, but they're ready for war." Ghost counted the armed silhouettes in the footage. 20 Iron Skulls, 7 bikers. Not good odds. His phone buzzed. Chen. "Where are you?" she asked. "Block away from the warehouse, with backup." "How many?" 7. "Against 20? Marcus, that's suicide." "You got a better idea?" "Yeah, wait for my team. We're 15 minutes out." "Reaper gave me 45 minutes. We're down to 38. If I'm late, he starts cutting off Diesel's fingers." "If you go in there outnumbered 3-1, you both die." "Then I better be fast." Ghost hung up. Bull was watching him. "What's the play?" Ghost looked at the 7 men who'd risked everything to ride with him tonight. Men who'd chosen conscience over safety, brotherhood over self-preservation. "Sketch, your drone. Can it make noise?"
Yeah? Why? Because we're going to give Reaper exactly what he expects. Me walking in alone, unarmed, ready to negotiate. Ghost pulled Chen's borrowed gun from his jacket, handed it to Bull. While 20 Iron Skulls are watching me, you 7 come in through every other entrance, fast and loud. That's not a plan, one of the other bikers said. That's a death wish. You got a better idea, Ace? Ace, same guy who'd held Ghost back during the meeting, shook his head. Just making sure you know this is crazy. Everything tonight's been crazy. We're past sanity now. Ghost checked his watch. 36 minutes. Sketch, I need your drone to crash into something metal. Make it loud, that's our signal. Bull, you give it 90 seconds after I walk in. Then you move. Everyone understand? They nodded. And if we get Diesel out but Reaper escapes? Then we hunt him down later. Tonight's about saving Diesel and stopping tomorrow night's shipment. Ghost kicked his bike to life. Let's go remind the Iron Skulls why they used to be scared of the Hells Angels. The warehouse loomed ahead, 3 stories of rusted metal and broken windows. Ghost counted 7 vehicles out front, lights on inside, movement in the windows. He parked his bike 50 feet from the entrance, killed the engine, walked forward alone. The door opened before he reached it. Vincent Carver stepped out, that scar cutting down his face like a railroad track. He held a gun casually at his side. Ghost. Right on time. Where's the girl? Safe. Where's Diesel? Inside. Bleeding but alive. For now. Carver gestured with his gun. Arms up. Need to check you for weapons. Ghost raised his arms. Carver patted him down rough and thorough. Found nothing. Phone. Ghost handed over his regular phone, kept the burner Bull gave him in his boot. Smart boy. Now walk. Inside, the warehouse was mostly empty, except for metal support columns and old machinery pushed against the walls. 20 Iron Skulls stood in a loose circle. In the center, tied to a chair, Diesel. Ghost's friend looked bad. One eye swollen shut, blood crusting on his face and shirt, breathing shallow and ragged. But alive. Diesel. Diesel's good eye opened. Ghost, don't give them anything. One of the Iron Skulls hit Diesel across the face. His head snapped back. Enough. Reaper Donovan stepped out from behind a support column. He was bigger in person than in photos, 6'3", maybe 250. That former cop bearing still visible in how he moved. Ghost. We finally meet. I've heard a lot about you. Wish I could say the same. Reaper smiled. You've got something I want. Actually, 2 things. The girl and whatever files your friend collected. And you've got something I want. Diesel. Alive and unharmed. Well, we're past unharmed, but alive can be arranged. Reaper walked closer. Here's how this works. You tell me where the girl is, where the files are, and your friend gets to keep breathing. Simple transaction. Except you're lying. I give you what you want, you kill us both. Probably. But here's the thing. You give me what I want, I kill you fast, painless. You don't, and I take my time. With both of you. And then I go to that church and start with the pastor's wife, then his daughter, then every single person who tried to help you tonight. Reaper pulled out a knife. So what's it gonna be, Ghost? Fast death or slow one? How about option 3? What's option 3? The one where you end up in federal prison, getting exactly what you deserve. Reaper laughed. You think the FBI scares me? I used to be FBI. I know every trick, every tactic, every informant they've got. They can't touch me.
Yeah, except you forgot one thing. What's that? They're not relying on informants anymore. They've got recordings, videos, evidence collected by people you never suspected. Ghost looked at Diesel. How long you think it'll take FBI forensics to crack Diesel's cloud storage? Hour? 2? By morning, they'll have everything. Every deal you ever made, every kid you ever moved, every cop you ever paid off. Everything. Reaper's smile faded. The files are encrypted. Diesel's smart, but Chen's smarter. She's already working on them, and when she cracks that encryption, and she will, you're done. So here's my counteroffer. You let Diesel go, you turn yourself in, and maybe you get a deal that keeps you out of maximum security. Or I just kill you both right now and disappear. You could try. Reaper studied Ghost for a long moment. Then he turned to Carver. Kill him. Carver raised his gun. That's when Sketch's drone crashed through a third-story window, screaming like a banshee, and all hell broke loose. The warehouse erupted. Bull and 6 bikers burst through every entrance at once, guns drawn, yelling. Iron Skulls spun toward the noise, confused, firing wild. Ghost dove for Diesel's chair, hit it hard, tipped it over. They went down together behind a metal support column. Bullets sparked off steel. Men shouted. Engines roared outside. I got you, Ghost said, working on Diesel's ropes. Took you long enough. The ropes came free. Diesel tried to stand, collapsed. Ghost caught him. Can you walk? Can I crawl real fast? Good enough. They moved along the wall, using machinery for cover. The firefight raged around them. Ghost saw Bull take down 2 Iron Skulls with precise shots. Saw Ace and Viper working together like they were back in the service. Saw Sketch shooting with one hand while controlling another drone with the other. But 20 against 7 was still bad math. 3 bikers went down, not dead, but hurt. The Iron Skulls were regrouping, pushing back. Ghost's burner phone rang. He answered while dragging Diesel toward the exit. We're 2 minutes out, Chen said. Can you hold? Barely. Is Diesel alive? For now. Keep him that way. We're coming in hot. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Reaper heard them too. Fall back! Everyone out! Now! The Iron Skulls started retreating, laying down covering fire. They moved to the back exits, vehicles starting up in the rear parking area. Ghost dragged Diesel through the front entrance, just as FBI sedans and marked police units came screaming into the lot. Chen jumped out before her car fully stopped, gun drawn. Diesel? Alive. Hurt. Need ambulance. Chen was already calling it in, coordinating with the arriving units, but Ghost watched the back of the warehouse. Reaper and most of his crew were getting away. Bull limped up, bleeding from his shoulder. We got 3 of theirs, lost none of ours. Could have been worse. Could have been better. Reaper escaped. Yeah, but we saved Diesel. That was the mission. Bull looked at the FBI agents swarming the warehouse. Chen's people are going to want to talk to us. Let them talk. We got bigger problems. Ghost turned to Sketch, who was packing up his drone equipment. That recording you showed me, the one about tomorrow night. 24 kids. Did Diesel's files have location information? Sketch pulled out his phone, started scrolling. Maybe. Diesel sent me some stuff before they grabbed him. Backup files in case something happened. He stopped scrolling. Here, encrypted folder. Title is just shipment schedule. Chen finished with her radio, walked over. What shipment schedule? Tomorrow night. Reaper's moving 24 children. Biggest operation they've ever attempted. Ghost looked at her. Can you crack Diesel's encryption? I can try, but it'll take time, maybe hours. We don't have hours. We have until tomorrow night.
Diesel coughed from where paramedics were working on him. Password for the cloud files. Everyone turned. It's my sister's name. Backwards. 3 numbers at the end. Her birthday. Diesel's voice was weak. Everything's in there. Everything you need. Chen was already on her phone, relaying information to her technical team. Ghost knelt beside Diesel as paramedics loaded him onto a stretcher. You did good, brother. Real good. Did I get them? Will this stop them? Yeah, you got them. Diesel grabbed Ghost's arm, surprisingly strong for someone who looked half dead. My mom, she can't know about the money I took, about what I did. Promise me. I promise. And Ghost? That little girl.
Zara, tell her some random guy she'll never meet thinks she's the bravest person alive.
Tell her yourself when you're out of the hospital. Diesel smiled. Passed out. The paramedics rushed him to the ambulance. Chen came back, phone still pressed to her ear. My team's in the files. They're good. Really good. Locations, dates, times, names, everything. She listened for a moment. What? Are you sure? Her face went pale. Marcus, the shipment tomorrow night.
It's not happening at a warehouse or a dock. Where then? The Ambassador Bridge. They're moving the kids across the Canadian border in a convoy of trucks disguised as commercial transport. 24 children hidden in false cargo compartments. If they make it across, we lose jurisdiction. Those kids disappear forever. Ghost's hands tightened into fists. What time? 10 p.m. They've got border guards paid off, documentation forged. The whole thing's designed to look legitimate. Can you stop them? We're alerting Border Patrol, coordinating with Canadian authorities. But Marcus, it's complicated. International law, jurisdiction issues, diplomatic concerns. We can't just roll up with guns blazing on a border crossing. Then what can you do? We're working on it. But we need 12 hours minimum to get approvals, coordinate with... You don't have 12 hours. You have 22. And if you spend that time pushing papers while 24 kids get sold overseas, their blood's on all of us. Chen stared at him. What are you suggesting? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm telling you. Those trucks aren't making it across that bridge. Marcus, how many men can you get? For an unauthorized operation? None. For something official with proper channels? Maybe 20 agents by tomorrow afternoon. Ghost turned to Bull. How many riders can you pull together? Bull wiped blood from his face. By tomorrow night, I can make some calls. Maybe 100. Maybe more. Not enough. We need hundreds, thousands. Sketch spoke up. What about the other clubs? Everyone turned. I've been documenting the trafficking for 3 years, posting evidence anonymously online, building a network of people who want to stop this. Sketch pulled up his phone, showed them a website. Forums, chat rooms, social media. Bikers, truckers, community activists, people who've lost kids, people who want to help. There's thousands of them, waiting for someone to lead. Ghost looked at the website. Pictures of missing children, stories from families, calls to action. Thousands of comments, shares, followers. How fast can you mobilize them? Ghost asked. I can have messages out in 5 minutes, but to get people actually showing up, that takes time, organization, leadership. Bull pulled out his phone. I know presidents from clubs in 6 states. Good men. They'll ride if I ask. Chen held up her hand. Wait, you're talking about what? A civilian blockade of an international border? That's a federal crime. Multiple federal crimes. So arrest us after, Ghost said. After the kids are safe. Marcus, this is insane. You can't just... Yes, I can. We can.
Because if we don't, those kids disappear. Forever. And every single one of us has to live with that.
Ghost looked around at the assembled faces. Bull, Sketch, the injured bikers, the FBI agents.
Reaper thinks he's untouchable. Thinks he can move those kids because nobody has the guts to stand up to him. So we're gonna show him different. Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled out her badge, looked at it, and put it in her pocket. I'm gonna regret this. I'm probably gonna lose my job for this. But you're right. Those kids matter more than rules. She pulled out her phone.
I've got contacts, activists, community organizers, people who've been waiting years for law enforcement to actually do something about trafficking. I can make calls too. How long to organize something this big? Bull asked.
20 hours if we're lucky, Chen said. This is tomorrow night at 10. We've got less than a day to coordinate a multi-state mobilization of civilians, bikers, and off-duty law enforcement. Then we better start now, Ghost said.
The warehouse parking lot turned into an operations center. Chen coordinated with her FBI colleagues who were willing to look the other way. Bull made calls to club presidents across the Midwest. Sketch worked his online network, posting calls to action, organizing digital resources. By 3 a.m., commitments were rolling in. 50 bikes from Ohio, 70 from Indiana, 100 from Illinois. More calls coming every minute. By dawn, the number was over 500. By noon, it hit 1,000. Ghost stood in Pastor Thompson's church, which had transformed into an ad hoc headquarters, watching the numbers climb on Sketch's laptop. Representatives from a dozen motorcycle clubs, community activists, parents of missing children, off-duty cops who were tired of looking the other way, truck drivers willing to cause accidental traffic jams, people who'd never met but were united by one simple conviction, that children mattered more than anything else. Pastor Thompson brought Ghost coffee. You started something, son. I just found one little girl. One little girl changed everything. Thompson looked at the activity around them. Zara's upstairs, sleeping, finally. She asked about you. What'd you tell her? That her angel was busy, but he'd come see her soon. Ghost nodded. After tomorrow. After this is over. And if it's not? If Reaper wins? He won't. You sound certain. I am, because for once in my life, I'm on the right side of something, and that's gotta count for something. Thompson squeezed Ghost's shoulder. It counts for everything. By 6 p.m., the number reached 2,000 riders. By 8 p.m., it hit 3,000. Ghost's phone, the burner Bull gave him, rang. Unknown number. He answered. Yeah? Ghost. Reaper's voice. I underestimated you. That business at the warehouse, very dramatic. But it doesn't matter. My shipment's still happening. Nothing you can do to stop it. We'll see. No, we won't. Because I know what you're planning. The big mobilization. Thousands of riders heading to the bridge. Very impressive. Very stupid. Reaper paused. See, while you've been organizing your little protest, I've been making calls too. To people with real power. And they're very interested in shutting down your operation before it starts. Meaning what? Meaning Michigan State Police are about to raid Pastor Thompson's church. Arrest everyone for conspiracy to commit domestic terrorism. You, the pastor, every biker in that building. By tomorrow morning, you'll all be in federal custody. Reaper laughed. And while you're being processed, my trucks roll across that bridge. Those kids disappear. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're bluffing. Am I? Tell me, Ghost. Do you hear sirens yet? Ghost moved to the window. In the distance, flashing lights, multiple vehicles.
coming fast.
There's your answer, Reaper said. Game over. I win. Those kids lose, and you get to spend the rest of your life knowing you failed. The line went dead. Ghost stood frozen, watching the police vehicles approach. Everything they'd built, every person who'd committed to help, every hope of saving those 24 children, about to be destroyed. Unless he could figure out one more miracle in the next 5 minutes. Chen was already moving toward the door when Ghost grabbed her arm. Wait, those aren't state police. What? Ghost pointed at the approaching vehicles. Look at the lights, the formation. That's not a raid formation. That's an escort. The first vehicle pulled into the church parking lot, not marked police. A news van, Channel 7. Then another, Fox News, CNN. 6 vehicles total, all media. A woman stepped out of the lead van, sharp suit, professional makeup, microphone all ready in hand. She walked straight toward the church entrance where Ghost and Chen stood. Marcus Williams? I'm Rebecca Chen, no relation. She nodded at Chen. I'm with Channel 7 Investigative Unit. We got a tip about a major story happening here. Something about stopping a child trafficking operation? Ghost's mind raced. Who told you that? Anonymous source, but they sent documentation, videos, evidence of human trafficking by the Iron Skulls gang. Did the FBI was coordinating with civilians to stop a shipment tomorrow night? Rebecca looked around at the bikers, the activists, the organized chaos. Is it true? Chen started to say no, but Ghost spoke first. Yeah, it's true. Marcus, Chen hissed. You want to stop Reaper? Ghost said quietly. This is how. He threatened to have us arrested for domestic terrorism, but he can't do that if we're already national news. Can't disappear 24 kids if the whole country's watching. Rebecca was already signaling her camera crew. Can we get this on record? An interview? You can get everything on record. Names, faces, evidence, all of it. Ghost turned to the assembled crowd. Everyone willing to speak on camera? Line up. Tell your stories. Show your faces. We're not hiding anymore. Within 30 minutes, the church was flooded with news crews. Every major network, local stations, independent journalists. Sketch had sent his evidence to all of them, timed perfectly to arrive just as Reaper's raid was supposed to happen. Pastor Thompson spoke about Zara, about finding his daughter traumatized but alive. Parents of missing children shared photos, told stories, cried on camera. Bull talked about the Hells Angels choosing to stand against trafficking despite the risks. Chen carefully explained the FBI's limitations, while making it clear that tomorrow night's border crossing was under active investigation. By midnight, the story was everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, cable news, hashtags trending worldwide, pictures of the growing biker mobilization, interviews with community leaders, calls for justice. Ghost's burner rang. Bull, turn on the TV, any channel. Ghost found a television in the pastor's office. Every station showed the same thing. The church, the bikers, the story. Reaper's done, Bull said. Can't make us disappear now. Too many cameras, too many eyes. He'll still try to move those kids. He's got too much invested. Yeah, but now we've got the whole country backing us. State police called me 20 minutes ago. Said they're not raiding anything. Said they're actually sending units to help manage tomorrow's protest. Bull laughed. Protest. That's what they're calling it. Ghost hung up and found Chen in the sanctuary coordinating with her team. How many riders now? He asked. Last count was 4,000. But with the media coverage? She checked her phone. People are coming from everywhere. Texas, California. We're getting calls from Canada, for God's sake. This is bigger than anything I've ever seen. Will it be enough? To block a bridge? Physically stop trucks? Yeah.
But, Marcus, there's complications. Reaper knows we're coming now.
He'll have contingencies, alternate routes. Maybe he cancels the whole thing.
He won't cancel. He's got buyers waiting. Money already exchanged. This shipment happens or he loses everything.
Ghost pulled out Diesel's files on Sketch's laptop. These trucks, what do we know? Sketch came over, scrolling through data. 3 semi-trucks, false cargo compartments. Documents say they're hauling auto parts. 8 kids per truck, guards in each cab.
They'll be in a convoy, probably with escort vehicles. What time do they leave?
Files say they stage at a warehouse on Fort Street at 8 p.m. Drive to the bridge at 9:30. Cross at 10 when their bought border guards are on duty.
So we have 2 choke points, the warehouse and the bridge.
Chen shook her head.
We can't hit the warehouse. That's kidnapping territory, armed confrontation. People will die. The bridge is better, public, visible, media present.
Forces them to back down without violence.
Unless they don't back down,
Ghost said.
Unless Reaper decides to force his way through.
Then we have 4,000 riders between him and those kids. Ghost studied the map on Sketch's laptop. The Ambassador Bridge. Mile-long suspension bridge connecting Detroit to Windsor, Canada. 6 lanes. Toll booths on both ends. Usually jammed with commercial traffic.
4,000 bikes on that bridge,
Ghost said. We shut down commercial traffic completely.
For how long?
Chen asked. As long as it takes.
The city won't allow it. Border authorities won't allow it. You're talking about disrupting millions in trade, creating international incidents.
I'm talking about saving 24 kids. Everything else is just noise. Chen stared at him for a long moment, then nodded.
Okay, but we do this smart, coordinated, no vigilante justice. No one gets hurt unless there's absolutely no choice.
Agreed. They spent the rest of the night planning. Sketch coordinated with other clubs, establishing communication protocols, organizing staging areas. Bull worked with off-duty cops and former military, setting up security teams. Chen liaised with her FBI colleagues, threading the needle between official sanction and plausible deniability. By dawn, the plan was set. By 8 a.m., riders started arriving at designated meeting points around Detroit. By noon, the number hit 5,000. By 3 p.m., it reached 6,000. Ghost rode through the staging areas, seeing faces he'd never met, but who all shared the same purpose. Old men on vintage Harleys, young women on sport bikes, veterans, teachers, parents. People from every walk of life, unified by one simple conviction. At 5 p.m., Ghost returned to the church. Zara was awake, sitting with her father, watching news coverage.
Ghost!
She ran to him. He knelt down, let her hug him. Hey, baby girl, you okay?
Daddy showed me the news. All those people, they're coming because of me?
They're coming because of all the kids who need help. You're just the one who reminded us why it matters.
Are you going to stop the bad men?
We're going to try.
Will you be safe?
Ghost thought about lying, about giving her false comfort. But Zara had earned honesty. I don't know. But I promise I'll do everything I can to make sure those other kids get saved. Just like you were. Zara hugged him tighter.
You're still my angel.
Ghost's throat closed up. He held this brave little girl. Thought about Amara, about second chances, about redemption earned through action instead of words. Pastor Thompson put his hand on Ghost's shoulder. Bring them home, son. Bring all those children home. I will, or die trying. At 7 p.m., Ghost, Bull, Chen, and Sketch met at the final staging area, a parking lot 3 miles from the bridge. 6,000 motorcycles, more arriving every minute. The rumble of engines was like thunder that never stopped. Rebecca and her camera crew were there, documenting everything. Other media, too. Helicopters overhead. This was no longer a secret operation. It was a movement. Ghost's phone rang. Diesel calling from his hospital bed. "Tell me you got this," Diesel said, his voice weak but steady. "We got this." "The files, they're helping?" "They're everything. We know exactly what Reaper's planning." "Exactly when and where." "Good," Diesel coughed. "Ghost, when this is over, when those kids are safe, I'm done. With the club, with the life, all of it. Going straight." "What'll you do?" "I don't know. Maybe work with kids. Maybe try to make up for all the times I looked the other way." He paused. "Think I can be redeemed?" "Brother, if I can, anyone can." They hung up. Ghost checked his watch. 7:30. The trucks would be leaving the warehouse in 30 minutes, arriving at the bridge around 9:30. He had 2 hours to position 6,000 riders, coordinate with law enforcement, and pray this worked. Bull handed him a radio. "We're on Channel 7. Every team leader's got one. You call it, we move." "How many teams?" 15. Each one's got about 400 riders. We're positioning them in layers. First wave blocks the entrance, second wave blocks all alternate routes, third wave's our rapid response if things go wrong. Chen came over with maps. "Border Patrol's cooperating, sort of. They're not officially supporting us, but they're not stopping us either. They'll keep the Canadian side clear, make sure Reaper's trucks can't just ram through and cross anyway." "What about Detroit PD?" "They're managing traffic, keeping civilians clear. They've been ordered not to intervene unless violence breaks out. After that, all bets are off." Chen looked at the assembled riders. "Marcus, this is insane." "You know that, right?" "Yeah." "And you're doing it anyway?" "Yeah." "Why? You could have walked away, given Zara to us, let us handle it, gone back to your life." "Because 8 years ago, I walked away from someone who needed me, and she died because of it. I'm not walking away anymore." Chen handed him a radio. "Then let's go save some kids." At 8 p.m., scouts confirmed the trucks leaving the Fort Street warehouse. 3 semis, exactly as predicted. Black SUVs in front and behind. Convoy formation, heading toward the bridge. At 8:15, the first wave of riders moved out. 400 bikes rolling toward the bridge entrance. They arrived at 8:30, spread across all lanes, killed their engines, and waited. At 8:45, the second wave deployed. Another 400 bikes, blocking side streets, alternate routes, any way around the blockade. At 9 p.m., Ghost led the third wave to the bridge itself. 2,000 riders on the Ambassador Bridge. They stretched from the Detroit side to the Canadian side, a wall of chrome and leather and determination. News helicopters circled overhead, cameras everywhere, the whole world watching. At 9:15, Ghost's radio crackled. "Scout team to Ghost. Convoy's 5 minutes out. They're not slowing down." "Copy that. All teams, stand ready. No violence unless there's no choice. We're here to save kids, not start a war." Confirmations came back from all 15 team leaders. At 9:20, Ghost saw headlights approaching. 3 semis. SUVs. Exactly as predicted. They came fast, expecting clear roads, and found 6,000 motorcycles instead. The convoy stopped 50 yards from the bridge entrance, engines idling, headlights blazing. Ghost's phone rang. Unknown number. "You're making a mistake." Reaper's voice was ice. "I'm fixing one. Move your people now, or this gets bloody." "We're not moving.
Those kids aren't crossing this bridge.
You've got 6,000 civilians on a major international crossing, disrupting trade, breaking a dozen federal laws. Even with media coverage, even with public support, there's limits to what you can get away with.
Try me. I am trying you. Reaper laughed. Look behind you, Ghost. Ghost turned. Blue and red lights approaching from the Canadian side. Police. Lots of them. Canadian authorities, Reaper said. They don't care about your media circus.
They don't care about your noble cause. They care about an illegal blockade of their border, and they're authorized to clear it by any means necessary.
Ghost watched the Canadian police form a line on the far end of the bridge. Riot gear, shields. This was about to get ugly. So here's what happens, Reaper continued. Canadian police clear the bridge from their end. My trucks drive through the gap. Those kids cross into Canada, and there's nothing you can do about it.
The Canadian officers started advancing.
Slow, methodical, professional. Bull came up beside Ghost. What do we do? Ghost looked at the advancing police, at the waiting trucks, at 6,000 riders who'd risked everything to be here, at the cameras recording every moment. We sit tight. Don't move. Don't fight back. Just sit on our bikes and make them drag every single one of us off this bridge. They will, you know. Arrest all of us. I know.
But by the time they do, those trucks won't have time to cross before shift change at the border. New guards come on at 11. Guards who aren't on Reaper's payroll.
That's your plan? Stall long enough for an honest shift rotation?
You got a better idea? Bull grinned.
Nope. Let's see how this plays out. The Canadian police were 30 feet away when Ghost's phone rang again. Chen. Don't answer, she said. Just listen. I've got the Canadian Justice Minister on the line. She's watching the news coverage, seeing what's happening. And she's pissed. Not at you. At Reaper. At the whole trafficking network. She calling off the cops? Better. She's ordering them to search those trucks. Says if there's evidence of human trafficking, the vehicles don't cross. Period. Ghost's heart jumped. Can she do that? She's the Justice Minister. She can do whatever she wants. Hold your position. 3 more minutes. Ghost relayed the message over the radio. 3 more minutes. Don't move. Don't fight. Just hold. The Canadian police were 10 feet away when their radios crackled. They stopped, listened, looked confused. Their commander got on his phone, argued with someone, listened more. Then he turned and ordered his units to fall back. They retreated, formed a new line, this time facing the convoy. Ghost's radio. Convoy's trying to turn around. Block them. Don't let those trucks leave. The fourth wave of riders moved in from behind, boxing the convoy against the bridge blockade. The trucks were trapped between 2,000 bikes in front and another 1,000 behind. Canadian police approached the semis, ordered the drivers out. The SUV escorts tried to intervene, but more police arrived. Windsor PD, Ontario Provincial Police. They surrounded the entire convoy. Ghost watched as officers opened the first truck's cargo bay, saw them recoil, saw them urgently calling for ambulances. Chen's voice on the radio. They found them. All 24 kids. Alive. They found them. The bridge erupted in cheers. 6,000 riders celebrating, horns honking, engines revving. The sound was deafening. Ghost just stood there, hand over his mouth, trying not to cry. They'd done it. Against impossible odds, against a former FBI agent with unlimited resources, against corrupt cops and bought border guards and every advantage Reaper had. They'd saved 24 children. But then Ghost saw movement. One of the SUVs breaking formation. ramming through a gap in the police line, speeding away toward Detroit. "That's Reaper!" Sketch shouted, pointing. Ghost was on his bike before he consciously decided to move. Bull and 20 other riders followed. They tore after the fleeing SUV, weaving through traffic, pushing their bikes to the limit. The SUV was fast, but it couldn't outmaneuver motorcycles in city traffic. Ghost pulled alongside, saw Vincent Carver driving, Reaper in the passenger seat. Carver swerved, trying to hit Ghost's bike. Ghost dropped back, let Bull move up on the other side. They boxed the SUV in, forced it toward a dead end. The SUV crashed through a chain-link fence into an abandoned lot, the same lot where Ghost had found Zara 3 days ago. The same tree where she'd been chained. Reaper and Carver jumped out, guns drawn. Ghost and the others dismounted, spread out.
Nobody fired. Yet.
"It's over, Reaper," Ghost called. "Kids are safe. Police have all your files. Every cop you paid off, every operation you ran. It's all done."
Nothing's done until I say it is. Reaper aimed at Ghost. You cost me everything. Millions in lost revenue. My entire network. Years of work.
"Good."
I'm gonna kill you. Then I'm gonna kill that little girl. Then I'm gonna rebuild from scratch.
"No, you're not." Ghost took a step forward. "Because you forgot something."
What's that?
"You're not the only one with a gun." 20 riders pulled weapons. Reaper and Carver were outnumbered 10-1. Police sirens approached, getting closer. "Drop it," Ghost said. "End this now, while you still can." Reaper's hand trembled. For a second, Ghost thought he might actually do it, might surrender, choose prison over death. But then Carver moved, swung his gun toward the approaching police cars, fired. The riders fired back. Carver went down. Reaper dropped his weapon, hit the ground, hands up. Ghost walked over, kicked Reaper's gun away, looked down at the man who'd caused so much suffering. "It's over," Ghost said again. Police cars flooded the lot, officers shouting orders. Reaper was cuffed, hauled away. Carver was loaded into an ambulance, critical, but alive. Chen found Ghost in the chaos. 24 kids, all alive. Some dehydrated, all traumatized, but alive. They're being taken to hospitals now.
Families are being contacted. Zara?
Safe at the church, asking for you. Ghost nodded, suddenly exhausted. 3 days of running on adrenaline and desperation finally catching up. Bull came over. "We did it, brother. Actually did it." "Yeah, we did." "What now?" Ghost looked at the tree where he'd found Zara, at the chain still wrapped around the trunk, at the place where everything changed. "Now we make sure it stays done. No more kids in chains. No more turning away because it's not our problem." Ghost turned to Bull. "The Hells Angels. What are you gonna do at the club?" Bull was quiet for a long moment. "Diesel was right. Time to go straight. Time to be what we should have been all along. Brothers who actually protect people." "Think the others will follow?" "Some will, some won't. But the ones who matter, the ones with souls left, yeah, they'll follow." Bull held out his hand. "Ride with us again, Ghost. Help me rebuild this thing right." Ghost shook his hand. "Yeah, I'll ride with you." Over the next hour, the story continued to unfold. News of the rescue spread worldwide. Videos of the bridge blockade went viral. Pictures of 6,000 bikers standing against traffickers. Interviews with rescued children. The whole impossible, beautiful, messy truth of it. By midnight, Ghost was back at the church. Zara ran to him when he walked in. "You did it! The news said you saved all of them." "We saved them. All of us. Together." Zara hugged him. Pastor Thompson came over, tears in his eyes. 24 families are getting their children back tonight because of you. Because of a lot of people. None of this was just me. Maybe not, but you started it. You took that first step. Thompson smiled. That's what heroes do, Marcus. They take the first step even when everyone else is too scared. Ghost sat down, suddenly aware of how much everything hurt. Bruises, exhaustion, emotional overload. Chen sat beside him. Media's calling it the biggest anti-trafficking operation in U.S. history. They're calling you the man who led 6,000 bikers against organized crime. You're a national hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just a guy who found a kid and couldn't walk away. That's exactly what makes you a hero. Chen handed him a file. Reaper's talking, giving up names to try for a reduced sentence. So far, he's implicated 47 people. Cops, border guards, judges, politicians, the whole network. This is bigger than any of us thought. Will they prosecute? Already started. Federal charges across the board. This is going to take years to fully unravel, but we'll get them all. Every single person who helped traffic children. Ghost opened the file, saw names, faces. Some he recognized, most he didn't, but they'd all pay now. All of them. What about the bounty? Ghost asked. The one Reaper put out. Cancelled. With Reaper in custody and the whole operation exposed, no one's stupid enough to try collecting. Chen stood. You're safe, Marcus. Finally safe. Never really felt unsafe. Just felt like I had a job to do. And now it's done. Ghost looked around the church, at the people who'd risked everything, at the community that had come together, at Zara sleeping peacefully on a couch, finally free from fear. Yeah, he said. Now it's done. Bull came over with sketch. We're organizing a ride tomorrow, all 6,000 of us. Then escort those 24 kids home, make sure they get back to their families safe. I'll be there. Figured you would be, Bull smiled. You know what Diesel said from his hospital bed? He said we just proved something important. That it doesn't matter how far you've fallen, doesn't matter what mistakes you made. You can always choose to stand up. Always choose to do better. He's right. Yeah, he is. Bull looked at Zara. That little girl called you an angel. I think she was onto something. I'm not. You are, though. Maybe not the kind with wings and halos, but the kind that shows up when everything's dark and reminds people that light still exists. Bull put his hand on Ghost's shoulder. Thank you, brother, for reminding me who I wanted to be. After Bull left, Ghost sat alone in the quiet church. Outside, he could hear motorcycles, people celebrating. The sound of victory. But Ghost wasn't thinking about victory. He was thinking about Amara, about whether she'd be proud of him, whether she'd see what he'd done and know that her death hadn't been meaningless, that it had taught him something important about what mattered. I hope I made you proud, baby girl, he whispered. I hope, wherever you are, you know your daddy finally got it right. A hand touched his shoulder. Ghost looked up. Zara stood there, wrapped in a blanket. I heard you talking, she said. About your daughter. Yeah. Do you think she would have liked me? Ghost pulled Zara into a hug. Yeah, baby girl. I think you two would have been best friends. They sat together in the quiet church, while outside, 6,000 riders prepared for tomorrow's escort home. While 24 families waited to be reunited with children they'd thought were lost forever. While the world learned that sometimes, against all odds, good people doing good things can actually win. And Ghost felt something he hadn't felt in 8 years. peace. The morning sun was barely up when Ghost heard the engines. He'd slept maybe 2 hours on a church pew, Zara curled up beside him with Pastor Thompson's wife's blanket. The rumble woke him, pulled him to the window. 6,000 motorcycles, maybe more. They filled every street around the church, spilled into parking lots and empty fields. Riders from 30 states, more arriving every minute.
Bull came through the door carrying coffee and looking like he hadn't slept at all.
They keep coming. Lost count after 7,000.
7,000?
And growing. Word spread overnight. People driving through the night to be here, to be part of the escort.
Bull handed Ghost the coffee.
24 kids, 7,000 riders. That's almost 300 bikes per child.
Ghost sipped the coffee. It was terrible, church basement quality. But it was hot, and he needed it.
Where are the kids now? Hospital. Doctors cleared most of them. Couple need to stay longer for observation. But 22 are ready to go home today.
Bull pulled out a list.
Chen's team coordinated with families, got addresses, routes, logistics. We're splitting into 22 convoys. Each kid gets their own escort home.
What about the other two?
Bull's face darkened. One's family is dead. Car accident 6 months ago. She's got no one.
The other kid, his parents haven't been found yet. Possible they were involved in the trafficking.
Ghost set down his coffee.
They're not going into the system alone, not after everything.
What are you saying?
I'm saying I'll take them. Foster, adopt, whatever it takes. They're not going back to emptiness.
Ghost, you can't just—
Yes, I can. And I will.
Ghost looked at Bull.
You got a problem with that? No. I think it's exactly what you should do, Bull smiled.
Amara would be proud.
Zara stirred on the pew, woke up, saw the window full of motorcycles.
Oh my God. Look at them all.
They're here for you, Ghost said. For all the kids.
There's so many.
Yeah. Turns out when people remember what matters, they show up. Ghost knelt beside her. You ready to go see the other kids? The ones we rescued?
Can I?
You're part of this story, Zara. You're the reason any of us are here. Those kids should meet you. They drove to the hospital in Chen's sedan, Ghost riding with Zara while Bull coordinated the convoy logistics. The hospital parking lot was already packed with bikes, riders standing respectfully outside while families gathered inside. The children were in a large common room, 24 kids ranging from 8 to 16, some crying, some silent, all traumatized, but alive. When Ghost and Zara walked in, conversations stopped. One of the older girls recognized Zara from news coverage.
You're the girl from the tree, the one who started all this.
Zara nodded, suddenly shy. The girl came over, hugged her.
Thank you. If you hadn't been brave, we'd all be—
She couldn't finish. Other kids came over, hugging Zara, thanking her, crying. Ghost stepped back, let them have their moment. These were children who'd survived hell, who'd been merchandise, packages, investments. Now they were kids again, scared and hurt, but kids. Chen found Ghost in the hallway.
Families are arriving. We're starting reunions in 20 minutes. You should be there.
This is their moment, not mine.
You made this moment possible. Be there.
The first reunion broke Ghost's heart and put it back together at the same time. An 8-year-old boy named Marcus, same name as Ghost, different spelling, and his mother. She'd been searching for 6 months, had called police every day, had never stopped believing. When she saw her son, the sound she made was beyond words.
Pure relief, pure joy, pure love.
They collapsed into each other, both sobbing, both holding on like they'd never let go. Ghost watched from the doorway, his own eyes burning.
This was why. This moment right here. This was everything. 21 more reunions followed, each one devastating and beautiful. Parents who'd lost hope finding it again. Children who'd given up seeing their families reunited. Siblings, grandparents, aunts and uncles, everyone crying, everyone grateful.
But 2 children stood alone. The girl whose family died in the accident, her name was Sophie, 11 years old, quiet, with eyes that had seen too much. And the boy whose parents hadn't been found, Miguel, 9, scared of everything. Ghost knelt in front of them. "You two, you're coming with me. Not forever if you don't want, but until we figure things out. You're not going into the system. You're not going to strangers, okay?" Sophie looked at him with hollow eyes. "Why would you do that?" "Because someone should have done it for my daughter, and because you deserve better than emptiness." Miguel started crying. Not sad crying, relief crying. The kind that comes when a weight you didn't know you were carrying finally lifts. "Can Zara come too?" Sophie asked. Ghost looked at Zara, who'd been listening from across the room. She came over, took Sophie's hand. "I'm not going anywhere. Ghost is my angel too." The escort ride began at noon. 7,000 motorcycles and 22 convoys. Each child riding safely in a car with family, while hundreds of bikes surrounded them in protection. The sound was like thunder that didn't stop. Ghost rode with Bull at the front of Sophie and Miguel's convoy. Zara rode with Pastor Thompson and his wife, but their convoy was right behind. 300 bikes per group, an ocean of leather and chrome and determination. They escorted the first families through Detroit's streets. People lined the sidewalks, watching, waving, crying. News helicopters overhead. The whole city witnessing redemption in real time. Each time a convoy reached its destination, riders would form an honor guard while the family went inside. Then that group would fold into another convoy, keeping the protection strong until every child was home. By 5 p.m., 18 children were home. 4 left. By 7 p.m., 21. By 9 p.m., everyone was home except Sophie and Miguel, who were coming to Ghost's apartment. Or what used to be his apartment, before he gave up his club vest and his old life. Bull pulled up beside Ghost at a red light.
Where are you taking them?
I don't know. My place is too small. 1 bedroom, no room for 3 kids.
Pastor Thompson offered his basement, said he's got space. Zara's already staying there anyway.
I can't ask him to.
He's not asking. He's insisting.
Bull smiled. Besides, you think he's going to let Zara's angel disappear now? They rode to the church. Pastor Thompson met them outside with his wife. We set up beds, 3 rooms. They're small, but they're clean and safe, and filled with people who care. Sophie and Miguel got out of Chen's car slowly, looking at the church like it might disappear. This is home, Ghost said. For now. For as long as you need. Pastor Thompson's wife, her name was Grace, knelt in front of the children. I make breakfast every morning at 7. Pancakes on Sundays. You like pancakes? Miguel nodded. Good. Then I'll make extra. Grace stood, held out her hands. Come on, let's get you settled. The kids went inside with Grace, while Ghost, Bull, and Pastor Thompson stood in the parking lot watching the last groups of riders disperse. What you did today, Thompson said. That'll echo for generations. Those children, those families, they'll remember, and they'll tell their children, who'll tell theirs. You changed the world, Marcus. We changed it, all of us. You started it. Thompson looked at Ghost. What now? What's next for you? Honestly, I have no idea. For 15 years, I knew exactly who I was. Hell's Angel, biker, brother. Now? Ghost shrugged. Now I'm something else.
Not sure what yet. Bull spoke up. You're a father. That's what you are. I'm not. 3 kids in that church are calling you their angel.
You're fostering them, planning to adopt. That's not temporary. That's not figuring it out. That's being a father.
Ghost's throat tightened.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Bull's phone rang. He answered, listened, his face going hard.
When?
Pause.
How many?
He hung up. That was sketch. Someone just burned down the warehouse where we rescued Diesel. Completely destroyed. Fire department says it's arson.
Reaper's network, Ghost said. Destroying evidence.
Worse. Sketch got a message.
Anonymous. Says there's contracts out again. Not on you. On the kids. All 24. 50,000 per child. Dead or alive. Ghost went cold. They're going after the kids?
Makes sense in a sick way. The kids can testify, can identify people, can destroy what's left of the network. Bull pulled out his phone. I'm calling every convoy, every family. They need protection. Chen's car pulled up fast. She jumped out. You heard? Just now. Bull's making calls.
FBI's already moving. We're putting protective details on every family. But Marcus, there's more.
Chen pulled up her phone, showed him a text.
This came through 10 minutes ago. Anonymous sender. Claims to be from inside Reaper's organization. Says there's a mole. Someone we trust. Someone close to the investigation.
Who?
They won't say, but they gave proof.
Chen swiped to photos.
These are from inside FBI headquarters. Photos of our case files, our witness lists, our safe house locations. Taken yesterday. Someone on my team is feeding information to the traffickers.
Ghost looked at the photos. Classified documents, secret locations, everything the traffickers would need to hunt down witnesses.
We need to move the kids, now. All of them.
We're already working on it, but it takes time to coordinate 24 families, move them safely without tipping off whoever's watching. Chen's phone rang. She answered, listened, her face draining of color.
Where?
She hung up.
There's been an attack. First family. Marcus, the little boy. The 8-year-old. His name was Marcus.
Ghost's world tilted. Was?
Someone broke into their house 20 minutes ago. Mother fought back. She survived. But the boy...
Chen couldn't say it. Ghost's hands shook. The boy with his name. The one who'd been so happy to see his mother. Dead. Because Ghost couldn't protect him.
This is my fault.
No. Bull grabbed his shoulders.
This is not on you. This is on the animals who did it. I should have known. Should have protected them better. Should have...
You can't save everyone, Bull said. But you can save the rest. Right now, today. We move every family. Pull them into churches, clubhouses, anywhere with protection. We form a perimeter that nothing gets through. Ghost pushed past grief into rage. Cold, focused, deadly. Get Sketch. Get every rider who hasn't gone home yet. We're forming protection teams. 23 families.
Minimum 50 bikes per house.
Armed. Watching. If anyone even looks suspicious, we stop them.
Marcus, that's vigilante.
I don't care what it's called, Ghost shouted. A child is dead. A child we saved. I'm not losing another one. Chen stepped back. Pastor Thompson put his hand on Ghost's shoulder. Then we do it smart, Thompson said quietly. We do it right. We protect these families legally, through numbers, through visibility,
through making it impossible for anyone to hurt them without the whole world seeing.
Ghost took a breath. Another.
You're right. Okay. We do it smart. Over the next 3 hours, they mobilized. Bull called every club president from the escort. Within an hour, commitments came in. 2,000 riders redistributed to guard duty, 50 bikes minimum per family, parked outside houses, watching, waiting. Ghost went to sketch. That anonymous message, the one about the mole, can you trace it? Then trying, used a sophisticated anonymizer, but whoever sent it wanted to be found. They left breadcrumbs. Sketch typed fast. Give me an hour. Ghost used that hour to visit the families, checking security, talking to terrified parents, promising protection he hoped he could deliver. At the fourth house, a mother grabbed his arm. Is my daughter safe? Tell me the truth. Is she safe? Ghost looked at this woman who'd just gotten her child back, only to face losing her again. I don't know, but I promise you this. Anyone who tries to hurt her goes through me and 2,000 armed bikers first. And we're not moving. We're not sleeping. We're not backing down. The mother nodded. Thank you. Ghost's phone rang. Sketch. I found the source, the anonymous message about the mole. Sketch paused. Marcus, this is bad. Really bad. Just tell me. The message came from inside the FBI field office. Same computer network Chen uses. But it wasn't Chen. It was someone in her chain of command, someone with access to everything. Who? I can't get a name, but they left one more message, just posted 5 minutes ago. Sketch read it. The mole will be at Reaper's arraignment tomorrow. Courtroom B, Federal Building, 9 a.m. Watch for the man in the gray suit who can't stop checking his phone. Ghost hung up, called Chen. The mole. They're going to be at Reaper's arraignment tomorrow. How do you know? Someone's feeding us information. Someone inside who wants them caught. Why would someone inside help us? Maybe they've got a conscience. Maybe they've got a kid. Maybe they're just done watching children die. Does it matter? Chen was quiet. Courtroom B, 9 a.m. I'll be there. So will I. The next morning, Ghost stood outside the federal courthouse wearing borrowed clothes that didn't quite fit. Bull beside him. Sketch with a hidden camera. 300 bikers forming a perimeter outside. Inside, the courtroom was packed. Reaper being arraigned on 47 counts of trafficking, conspiracy, and murder. Media everywhere. Chen and her FBI team in the front row. Ghost scanned faces, looking for the man in gray who couldn't stop checking his phone. There. Third row. FBI credentials visible. Mid-40s. Gray suit. Phone in his hand. Checking it every 30 seconds. Ghost leaned to Chen, whispered a name. She looked. Her face went pale. She recognized him. The arraignment proceeded. Reaper pleaded not guilty. Judge set bail at $5 million. Denied. Reaper would stay in custody. But throughout the hearing, the man in gray kept texting. Ghost watched his fingers move, watched him delete messages, watched him sweat despite the air conditioning. When the judge called recess, Gray's suit stood quickly, headed for the exit. Chen nodded to 2 FBI agents Ghost hadn't noticed. They blocked the door. Special Agent Morrison, Chen said loudly. We need to talk. Morrison, that was his name, froze. About what? About how you've been feeding classified information to a trafficking ring. About how your texts match the timing of every leak we've had. About how yesterday, a child died because someone warned the traffickers where to find him. Morrison's hand moved to his jacket. 3 agents drew weapons. Don't. Morrison's shoulders sagged. It was my kid. They had my kid. Said they'd kill her if I didn't cooperate.
Chen moved closer. When? When did they take her? 6 months ago. Said it was kidnapping for ransom. Then Reaper contacted me. Said I work for him now or my daughter dies. Morrison was crying. I didn't want to. I tried to feed bad information, tried to help without them knowing. But that boy yesterday, that's on me. I told them where he lived.
Where is your daughter now?
I don't know. They move her. They send me photos to prove she's alive, but I haven't seen her in person since. Morrison stopped, pulled out his phone. Wait, they just sent me something. He showed Chen. A photo. A teenage girl. Bound. Gagged. Timestamp from 10 minutes ago. That's her. That's Emma. The text says she dies in 1 hour unless I help them escape. Chen looked at Ghost. Can Sketch trace this? Ghost was already calling. Sketch answered.
Send me the photo. I'll pull metadata.
Ghost took Morrison's phone, forwarded the image. 30 seconds later, Sketch called back. Got a location, warehouse on Fort Street. Same area where we found Diesel. How confident? 90%. But Marcus, there's chatter on the Iron Skull's networks. They know Morrison got caught. They're moving the girl. You've got maybe 30 minutes. Ghost looked at Bull. How fast can we mobilize? 100 riders, 10 minutes. Do it.
Chen grabbed Ghost's arm.
This is an FBI matter. You can't just...
Yes, I can. You want that girl alive? You want to stop Morrison's handlers? Then you need speed. And you need people who don't care about paperwork.
Ghost was already moving. You can come or you can stay. But I'm going. Chen made her choice in 2 seconds. I'm coming. But this goes south. I don't know you. Deal. 100 motorcycles. FBI tactical team. Racing through Detroit toward Fort Street.
They arrived at the warehouse in 8 minutes. Surrounded the building in seconds.
Ghost kicked in the door first. Bull right behind. Chen and her team following. Inside, 4 Iron Skull's members. 1 teenage girl tied to a chair. Emma Morrison. Alive. Terrified. The traffickers reached for weapons. Didn't make it. Bull dropped 2. Ghost took down a 3rd. Chen's team secured the 4th. Ghost cut Emma's ropes. You're safe. Your dad's waiting for you. Emma broke down crying.
Chen wrapped a jacket around her, led her out to waiting ambulances. The warehouse was secure.
The trafficking operation's last remnants destroyed. But Ghost knew this wasn't over. Networks like this had deep roots. Cutting off a few branches wouldn't kill the tree. 2 weeks later, Ghost stood in the same courtroom for Reaper's trial. 23 of the 24 rescued children testified. The one who'd been killed, little Marcus, his mother testified in his place, holding his photo while she spoke. The trial lasted 4 days. Jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. 4 consecutive life sentences. No parole. Reaper showed no emotion as the verdict was read, but when they led him away, he looked at Ghost one last time. This isn't over, Reaper mouthed. Ghost mouthed back. Yeah, it is. 6 months after the bridge, Ghost stood in Pastor Thompson's church for another kind of ceremony. Not a raid, or a rescue, or a fight. An adoption. Sophie, Miguel, Zara, all 3 officially his children now. The judge had expedited the process, citing Ghost's actions, his character, his commitment. Do you, Marcus Williams, promise to provide for these children, protect them, guide them, and love them as your own? Ghost looked at the 3 kids beside him. Sophie with her cautious smile, Miguel with his superhero comic, Zara with her bright eyes that had started to heal. I do.
Then by the power vested in me, I declare this adoption final and binding." The judge smiled. "Congratulations. You're officially a father." The courtroom erupted in applause. 7,000 riders couldn't fit in the building, but they'd formed a line outside. When Ghost and his children walked out, those riders revved their engines in salute. Bull was the first to congratulate him. "Told you, you're a father." "Yeah, guess I am." Diesel came over, still limping, but alive. "Proud of you, brother." "Right back at you. Heard you're opening that youth center." "Yeah, using some of the reward money the FBI gave me for the evidence. Figure if I help kids find better paths, maybe I make up for some of the bad I did." "You're already making up for it." Ghost looked at his friend. "We all are." Sketch approached with news. "The network, Reaper's network. We're still tracking it." 47 arrests so far. But there's more. Always more. "Then we keep fighting." "We?" Sketch smiled. "You're a family man now. Can't be running off to fight traffickers." "Watch me." Ghost looked at his children. "They know what we're building. A world where kids don't get chained to trees, where people stand up, where good wins. And they're part of that. We all are." 1 year after the bridge, Ghost stood at Amara's grave. He visited every week, but today was special. Her birthday.
She would have been 17.
"Hey, baby girl," he said quietly. "Been a while since I gave you a real update, not just the quick visits. So here it is. Everything." He told her about Zara, Sophie, and Miguel, about how Sophie was starting to smile more, how Miguel was drawing pictures of motorcycles and superheroes, how Zara called him dad now without hesitation. He told her about the Guardians, Bull's reformed Hell's Angels chapter that now ran protection for domestic violence victims and escorted trafficking survivors to safety. He told her about the 53 trafficking arrests in the past year, about the 200 children rescued through coordinated operations based on what they'd learned that night on the bridge. "I don't know if you can hear me," Ghost said. "Don't know if it works that way. But if you can, I need you to know something. When you died, I thought I died too. Thought everything good in me died with you. But you taught me something, baby girl. You taught me that love doesn't die, that sacrifice matters, that standing up for someone who can't stand up for themselves, that's what angels do." He laid flowers on her grave. "So thank you, for making me want to be better, for showing me what mattered. I hope wherever you are, you're proud of your old man." The wind picked up, rustling leaves. For just a second, Ghost could swear he heard a little girl's laugh. Amara's laugh, or maybe Zara's, or Sophie's. They all blended together now, past and present, grief and hope, loss and redemption. His phone rang. Chen. "Marcus, we've got a situation. Young boy, 6 years old, found wandering Jefferson Avenue. Says he escaped from people who hurt him. Says he was with other kids. We think it's another operation." Ghost looked at Amara's grave one last time. "I'm coming. I figured you would be." Ghost drove back to the church where his kids were waiting. Bull was there too, already mobilizing riders. Sketch was pulling up files. Chen was coordinating with her team. "Another one?" Bull asked. "Yeah, another one." "Then we ride." Ghost looked at Zara, who'd overheard. She came to him, hugged him. "Go save them, Dad. Like you saved me." "I will, baby girl." "And Dad, you're still my angel." Ghost knelt down, pulled all 3 of his children into a hug. "You 3 are mine too. All of you. Every single person who stood on that bridge. Everyone who chose to help instead of looking away. You're all angels. And together,
We're gonna keep being angels until every child is safe. He stood, pulled on his leather jacket, the new one with the Guardian's patch. Not Hell's Angels anymore. Something better. Something earned through action instead of violence. Bull started his motorcycle. Ready, brother? Ghost kicked his bike to life.
The rumble echoed off the church walls.
100 other bikes answered, then 200. The sound grew until it shook windows and rattled doors and announced to anyone listening that the Guardians were riding again. 7,000 riders had started on a bridge one night. Now it was a movement. Hundreds of clubs across the country. Thousands of ordinary people who'd learned they weren't powerless.
Millions following the story online, donating to anti-trafficking causes, volunteering, organizing. All because one broken man found one terrified girl and made a choice. To be better. To stand up. To become the angel she thought he was. Ghost rode toward Jefferson Avenue, where a 6-year-old boy waited for rescue. Behind him, an army of redemption. Ahead of him, children who needed saving. Inside him, the unshakable conviction that this was his purpose. This was what Amara's death had taught him. This was why he'd survived when she hadn't. Not to waste his second chance, but to give second chances to every child he could reach. The motorcycle thundered through Detroit's streets as the sun set behind him, casting long shadows that looked almost like wings. And Ghost thought, maybe not the kind with halos. Maybe not the kind from church windows and Sunday school lessons, but angels nonetheless. The kind that showed up, the kind that fought, the kind that turned tragedy into purpose, and pain into protection, and loss into love so fierce it could change the world. One child at a time, one choice at a time, one ride at a time, forever.